program schedule are loaded with costs, with resources. Even with the schedule, you can do your risk analysis. On our project, we don't do any of such things. And at the end of the day, when those things eventuate, the project is bound to derail.
Now, looking at how many projects, first of all, that we have left abandoned, I'm sure that they span different. You just talk about a national library. Oftentimes, when people think of infrastructure, yes, they're thinking of roads, they're thinking of bridges, yeah, you're thinking of electricity, yeah,
water, sanitation,
exactly. So,
treatment.
Are you including all of this in the $57 billion
sure,
you're talking about?
Sure.
So, where would you say, assuming government were to start addressing a set of problems, where would you say they start from?
One, I think the one fundamental thing is the road infrastructure. I was reading a report of recent where they mentioned that the federal government road accounted for about 17% of the total network of roads that we have in Nigeria. But I bet you, no federal road in Nigeria is actually in a good state. I drove from Abuja to Lagos in October. When I got to Lagos Ibadan Expressway, it was hell. Between Abuja and Okene, same thing. Between Ibilo and Ondo State, which is along Owo, same thing. Eventually, I went back in April. I didn't drive. I followed a commercial vehicle. When I got to Lagos Ibadan Expressway, I had to put it on my Facebook account that when is the completion time for this project. I remember that project started before I even went for my PhD in 2010. Yet, we are still on that road. Even 6 months after I drove on that and I went back, for me, I haven't seen any meaningful progress. So the road network is the first thing, because this is the means through which we can move from one place to the other, like the acting president said, where we can convey our product from one part of the country to others. Until we do that, because it's much, much cheaper even to construct road than even doing rail network. But we know the significance of rail network because of the massive load and other things that they can carry. But first thing first, we have to address the road network. Once the problem of the road network is handled, then we can focus, we can begin to look into others.
But it would seem that the federal government is trying to look at both of them simultaneously. So they say we're doing the roads, we're trying to do the roads. At the same time, we're getting these huge loans from China Exim Bank and, you know, a lot of other consortiums to try and see how fast we can move with the rail. Are you optimistic? I mean, all the talk that's been going on around fixing the rail lines, are you optimistic that this indeed can be done? I
am not that optimistic.
Why is that?
The reason is that for me, I think there are some fundamentals that have not been addressed.
Which are?
Like I mentioned earlier, I don't know the cost analysis, the planning that they've put into all those projects before embarking on the project. And if those fundamentals are not fully addressed, we will not be in control of the project, rather we will be controlled by the project.
But looking at the fact that, you know, the state government is a continuum, but, you know, looking at the fact that, yes, from one administration to the other, they have been able to fix the Abuja-Kaduna rail line. Don't you think that should at least give hope that if they were able to do that there and it's currently working, maybe not at optimal level, but at least it's working and it's transporting people to and fro, don't you think that we can achieve the same perhaps through from Lagos to Ibadan at the very least, if not Lagos to Kano?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, the Kaduna-Abuja rail line was almost completed before this administration came on board.
Yes.
And that is why I remember that project was commissioned sometimes in July. I was on my way to Makurdi for a conference. That was why they could do that. And you remember how long it took the current administration before they could get the ministers and others. So let's leave that aside. 2019 is coming. How are we so convinced or so sure that the administration that is coming on board, whether the current administration or another one, will continue with the project this current administration has back upon? I was in Rivers State last month. I go there often because of a project I have there. The rail network, the monorail that was started by the last administration, today, that project is abandoned. But like I mentioned in one of your programs in Lagos some time ago, I said that loan, the loan that was obtained for that project, was obtained in the name of Rivers State government, not in the name of the governor at the time. Today, that project is left abandoned, but the state government, through federal government, we have to repay back the loan. It's just, for me, it's a capital wasted. What we should have done is to complete that project. Whoever is in power, whether it's a political party or not, finish the project so that